On the day of my engagement banquet with Jason, his white moonlight called to say her dog was ill, and he left abruptly without a word. Since my parents had carefully chosen the wedding date, and given Jason's disregard, I decided to replace him with a new groom. The next day, I obtained a marriage certificate with my childhood friend. Unexpectedly, Jason called me the day before the wedding. "Elena, if you don't want a wedding without a groom tomorrow, apologize to Chloe immediately. You have 10 minutes. Glancing at my childhood friend, who was writing about traditional virtues at the table, I smiled slightly and said, "Fine, you'd better show up tomorrow." "Jason, don't you know what day it is?" "Elena, Chloe's dog is sick and not eating, she's frantic, so I must go check." "It's just an engagement banquet, not a wedding. Everyone's already met, so what's your complaint?" "You're not a veterinarian, can you make her dog eat?" "Elena, it's a living creature, and Chloe must be desperate to call me. Stop being unreasonable." After speaking, Jason brusquely swatted away my hand, clutching his sleeve, his expression impatient, a stark contrast to the gentle demeanor he displayed moments earlier while holding my arm. When Chloe called, Jason and I were arm in arm, heading toward the stage. The abrupt ringtone was particularly jarring in the quiet banquet hall, and as I frowned, intending to stop him, Jason's face changed upon seeing the caller's name. He hurriedly freed his arm and stepped aside to answer, leaving me and the MC staring at each other. From a distance, I could only hear Jason's distressed reassurances, "Chloe, don't worry, I'm coming right now." Gazing at my reddened hand, I couldn't help but inwardly mock myself. In the 6 months since Chloe's divorce, Jason had missed countless dates with me because of her, and now even her dog could derail our engagement banquet. Observing his impatient demeanor, my voice turned colder than ever before. "Jason, if you dare step out that door today, we're done." He paused briefly but ran off without looking back, leaving me standing awkwardly at the edge of the stage like a fool. As soon as Jason left, his parents stood up, and Linda took my hand, saying hypocritically, "Elena, don't blame Jason. Chloe's divorced and has no one else to turn to, so please be understanding. We've met, so you can choose the wedding date. You know, our family struggled to put Jason through university, so we can't afford a dowry, and I'm sure your family wouldn't care for such trifles anyway. Oh, by the way, has the villa your parents provided as your dowry been renovated? I told Jason that you young folks need us elders to move in to bring good fortune, so let me know when it's ready." "I'm not unreasonable, I know you're busy, so just give me the keys, and you don't need to bother helping us move in." I subtly withdrew my hand and shook my head, saying, "Auntie, I can't be understanding. I already said that if Jason stepped out that door, we'd be over, and since he left, there's no need for a wedding. You'll have to find another daughter-in-law." Linda paused, then said sarcastically, "Is that so? Well, our Jason must be truly unlucky," before turning and leaving with a crowd in tow. My father was so furious he could barely stand, his hand trembling as he pointed at her retreating figure, unable to utter a complete sentence for a long while. No wonder Jason's mother was so nonchalant. Since I began dating Jason, our relationship had been on and off more than once. Each time Chloe quarreled with her boyfriend, Jason would break up with me. It was only a year ago, when Chloe got married, that Jason gave up on her and agreed to marry me. My nails dug into my palms, and since he was so ungrateful, I decided to replace him with a new groom. "Dad, I agree to the marriage alliance with the Jean family." My mother, busy calming my father, exchanged a glance with him after I spoke, their faces lighting up, but my father cautiously asked, "Elena, are you sure about this? If you don't want to marry Leon, don't force yourself. We can provide a larger dowry, and surely the Sue family snobs won't look down on you." Over the past 2 years, my parents endured countless frustrations over my engagement to Jason. Unnoticed, my father's temples had grayed considerably, and I choked up, saying, "Mom, Dad, I'm sorry for disappointing you these years. Didn't you carefully choose the wedding date? Let's keep it." Seeing my resolute expression, not mere angry words, my parents joyfully began preparations. Reflecting now, My obsession with Jason was likely due to watching too many hero saves the damsel stories, making it inevitable to fall for him when it happened to me. Jason was a classmate from my university department, and our meeting was quite accidental. One day after class, eager to try street food, I evaded my driver and ventured alone into an alley. By the time I was satisfied with the food, it was dark, and a few drunken thugs, seeing me alone, approached with ill intentions. That's when Jason appeared, wildly swinging a stool, knocking down several of them, scaring the thugs sober as they fled faster than one another. I quietly set down my empty beer bottle, my eyes sparkling with admiration. Later, I learned that Chloe had accepted another suitor that day, leaving Jason bitter and needing an outlet. Presumably, once Chloe's dog was fine, he remembered to message me, "Elena, your resolve didn't even last a day." His mocking words left me bewildered, and without time to think, Jason sent a screenshot of a comment under a wedding invitation from a friend of my father's, announcing their child's marriage. "Congratulations! My daughter is getting married too, on the 18th next month. Please come support us." Coincidentally, this was Jason's company boss, and somehow he had his contact, which is how he saw the comment. Jason mistakenly assumed he was my intended groom. His misunderstanding stemmed from my past weakness, as I initiated every breakup in the past 6 months, only to reconcile spinelessly each time, but this time I was utterly disillusioned. "The date's set, so you're just forcing me to give you an out, right? Elena, crying wolf too often gets old." I had no interest in explaining and was about to block him, but his next words made me pause. "By the way, Elena, how dare you speak to my mom like that? She's your elder. She's upset, so hurry up and buy her a gold bracelet to apologize, nothing under 100 grams. Jason's words reminded me that his mother loved gold, and over the years, to please her, I had bought her plenty of jewelry, which I now needed to reclaim. "Here's the deal, the jewelry I gave your mother years ago, gather it all and bring it to me. I'll melt it into gold bars and buy some new styles for her." Jason acted quickly, tossing me a pile of items as soon as I arrived at the agreed location. I didn't inspect them closely, assuming, given his mother's greedy nature, there would be more rather than less. A small corgi trailed at his feet, constantly trying to pull Jason along. This was likely Chloe's sick dog, and following its struggling gaze, I glimpsed a figure dart behind a pillar, revealing only a corner of clothing. "Elena, we'll meet again once you've made my mom happy." Jason hurriedly left after tossing out that remark. Carrying a heavy bag of gold, I was in high spirits, but my joy was short-lived as my cousin sent me a message, enraged, with a string of angry emojis. "Sis, you were right to dump that scum. Look how disgusting he is." My cousin sent a video of Jason and Chloe. Jason hadn't even changed, his tailored suit wrinkled terribly, while the corgi lay motionless on the ground, and Chloe clung to him, tears streaming down her face. My cousin, who loves dogs, was sent by my uncle to work part-time at a pet hospital to learn pet care responsibility before getting one. Jason had gone to the hospital where she worked, but she was at my engagement banquet that day, not at work. Her friend, thinking they were dealing with two weirdos, sent her the video. Is that woman an idiot? Feeding a big corgi a whole bag of food when it wasn't eating. She could have killed it if they'd gone any later. A scumbag and an idiot, perfect match. My cousin, fond of dogs, ranted for a while before calming down. That evening, I met Leon. The Jean family and mine were old friends, and Leon and I were childhood sweethearts, often teased by our families about me becoming his wife, a notion that faded only when I started dating Jason in university. Over the years, he had matured considerably, his well-tailored suit adding an air of refinement. I barely smiled before Leon enveloped me in a bear hug. "Elena, I knew you and that Jason guy wouldn't work out. You're destined to be the Jean family's bride." See, I wasn't even worried. I glanced at his misbuttoned shirt and silently rolled my eyes. Growing up, his stubbornness earned him countless scoldings. If my father hadn't sent me a video yesterday, I wouldn't have known Leon liked me. The video, sent by Leon's father to mine, was clearly filmed secretly, with shaky footage. It showed Leon hiding in the study, crying so hard he could barely breathe, a rare sight for someone so prideful. Leon's tactless words instantly doused my budding emotions. Elena, I won't pressure you, we can take it slow, but I'm claiming the title first. The next day, Leon and I had a marriage certificate in hand, busy with engagement matters. I'd fallen behind on company work and was working overtime when my secretary called. Elena, have you seen the trending news online? Apparently, my cousin impulsively posted my ordeal online. The Hua family is somewhat prominent in Haicheng, and the headline, my fiancé abandoning me at our engagement banquet to save his dim-witted white moonlight's overfed dog, was explosive. The internet was soon flooded with criticism of Chloe, though her face was mosaicked. Some netizens identified her, and extremists even dumped feces at her doorstep. Little sis, did you post that online? Take it down and apologize. Sis, I was just standing up for you. I know you meant well, but that doesn't justify pushing someone into the spotlight and cyberbullying her. Chloe may be manipulative, but the fault lies with Jason, his indecision, his infidelity. Does winning mean resorting to online harassment and insults? After my lecture, my cousin reluctantly took it down and issued a half-hearted apology statement. No matter Chloe's faults, it's wrong for everyone to stand on a moral high ground, acting as justice warriors to viciously attack her. Moreover, the greatest responsibility lies with Jason. As I was about to instruct my secretary to issue a statement, the password lock clicked open, and Jason stormed in, slamming the door so loudly it echoed. Thankfully, I was alone on this floor, so no one was disturbed. I'd need to change the password soon. Elena, how could you be so vicious? What does Chloe have to do with this? I chose to go, you couldn't keep me, so you resorted to these despicable tactics to cyberbully her? Don't you want to marry me? The incident was indeed my oversight, but not marrying him was a fact, so I firmly replied, yes, I'm not marrying you. Jason glanced at my finger and sneered, don't play coy. If you didn't want to marry, why wear the ring already? Afraid people won't know you're getting married? I looked down, my eyes curving into a smile. This ring was designed by Leon himself, symbolizing the melting of an iceberg and the arrival of love. Jason said sourly, such a big carriage, your parents really spared no expense. Hurry up and suppress this matter, Chloe's eyes are swollen from crying. Uncharacteristically, I agreed with him, surprising Jason, who still acted superior. You behaved poorly this time, so as a lesson, I'm blocking you until I'm in a better mood to unblock you. Oh, and hurry up with my mom's gold bars, she's anxious. Getting the response he wanted, Jason left satisfied. He probably hadn't messaged me since the engagement banquet, or he'd know I'd already blocked him. I had my secretary issue a statement overnight that Jason and I had broken up, urging everyone to view it rationally. I didn't read the flood of comments below, as I was busy taking wedding photos with Leon. The latest comment was a screenshot with the caption, "Didn't Elena say she broke up with Jason? Why is she taking wedding photos? Could she be marrying someone else?" A crowd of uninformed people discussed noisily below. Elena just said she broke up. I saw her wearing a big diamond ring on her ring finger at the mall last time. Ugh, another woman ruled by love. The situation unfolded suddenly, and Leon was busy arranging the venue to create a perfect, dreamy wedding for me, so my father and Leon's father didn't rush to release a statement, though our close friends knew. Chloe saw the photo and, under the pretense of helping me avoid embarrassment alone, deliberately brought Jason to accompany me for the wedding photos. As I pulled back the curtain, I met Jason's probing gaze, not missing the fleeting look of awe in his eyes. Chloe's eyes dimmed briefly before she flashed a smile. Elena, I came today to clear things up. Don't misunderstand, Jason and I are just friends. He came to the engagement banquet because I was frantic, and it's my fault you were mocked. Why didn't you mention you were taking wedding photos? How can you do it alone? If I hadn't seen the screenshot, Jason and I wouldn't have known. So, I brought Jason here. Jason, hurry and change. Leon was ridiculously vain, taking longer to pick a suit than me, not that I didn't give him a chance to show off. Miss Chloe, we're not close, and you're not worthy of calling me Elena. Jason is indeed pathetic, wagging his tail at your beck and call, but you're no better, playing the manipulative green tea role to perfection. Rest assured, I'm done with such trash. May you too, a manipulator and her dog live happily ever after. Chloe's face froze, and she ran off crying. Jason, fuming, pointed at me. Elena, this is your doing, just wait. By the time Leon came out, Jason had already chased after her. Tomorrow was the wedding, and Leon and I were busy preparing, with no time for Jason, yet he unexpectedly called me. Elena, you dared block my number? You've got some backbone this time, holding out until the last day. Apologize to Chloe now, or tomorrow you'll be a bride without a groom. I'm giving you 10 minutes to decide. Glancing at Leon, who was sprawled at the table writing about traditional virtues, I smiled faintly. Fine, you'd better show up tomorrow. Hanging up, I threw myself onto Leon. Hubby, some mad dog was barking on the phone, scaring my heart into pounding. Leon set down his pen, hugging me reassuringly. Don't be scared, you'd be the kind to take a general's head amid a million enemies in ancient times, yet a mad dog on the phone scares you? That's not easy. I grabbed his ear and twisted. Where are you at with the writing? Ouch, ouch, wife, I'm sorry. Just 2 more sacrifices to go. A knock on the door interrupted my next words. Not disturbing you lovebirds, am I? It was Ivy, sort of a half-friend to Leon and me. We never got along growing up, yet our families found ways to send us to the same university. When I was dating Jason, she stooped to offer eager advice, fearing I'd agree to marry Leon if I got heartbroken. Ivy glanced at Leon's reddened ear, her eyes flickering. Leon, can I borrow your fiancé for a day? Tomorrow's the wedding, and we friends want to throw her a bachelorette party. With some business ties between our families and our shared circle of friends, refusing would seem petty, so I discreetly nudged Leon and agreed with a smile. As we stepped out, Ivy said mysteriously, Elena, I've got a surprise for you tonight. Colorful lights hit the stage's center, but one beam strayed, illuminating an unexpected figure. Jason spotted me, deliberately walking over with his arm around Chloe, chin raised. Elena, I gave you 10 minutes, but you're so ungrateful. Couldn't hold out, could you? Too proud to back down, so you had Ivy call us over. Why not keep acting like a hottie, miss? But Chloe's generous, apologize to her face, and I won't hold your pretense against you. Hurry up, I need to take Chloe back, and I don't care if it delays tomorrow's auspicious time. Ivy's gleeful expression revealed her surprise, frustrated that Jason and I hadn't rekindled our romance. She was scrambling, and now, seizing this chance, she hoped I'd run from the wedding so she could swoop in. Before I could speak, a mutual university friend of Jason and me approached, slapping Jason's shoulder and teasing, Jason, didn't expect you to attend Elena's bachelorette party after your breakup. Will you be at her wedding tomorrow too? Jason frowned, displeased. Nonsense, of course I'll go if I don't. Who's she marrying? The crowd burst into laughter, and a flicker of unease crossed Jason's eyes. Our friend teased, you're quite the comedian, didn't see that in university. You're not the groom, your absence won't stop Elena's wedding, will it? Jason's eyes widened, and at some point, he'd let go of Chloe's arm. He reached for me, but I swiftly dodged. What are you doing, grabbing at me? I'm a married woman now, mind your behavior. Our friend sensed something was off, his gossipy eyes darting between us. Jason asked stiffly, how do you know she's marrying someone else? She posted the wedding invitation on Facebook. Jason muttered, I blocked her. He hurriedly checked his phone but couldn't find it. Why can't I see it? Our friend glanced over, exasperated. She blocked you too, look at mine. He swiped his phone, revealing my wedding invitation, clearly displaying Leon's and my names. Jason probably hadn't closely checked my father's Facebook post. His face paled, his eyes shifting, ignoring Chloe's repeated tugs at his sleeve. Soon, they were pushed away by toasting guests, On my way back from the restroom, Jason intercepted me. Elena, I admit you won this time. You don't need to apologize to Chloe. I'll attend on time tomorrow so you won't be embarrassed alone at the wedding, but you'd better know when to quit. Jason, it's been no time at all. Have you gone blind or lost your mind? Elena, are you really marrying Leon? I haven't agreed to break up. How dare you marry someone else? Didn't I tell you on the engagement day that stepping out that door meant we were done? Jason faltered, his eyes bloodshot, deludedly explaining, last time was my fault, but there was a reason. You shouldn't joke about this. Now that it's clear, hurry up and post on Facebook to explain. His idiotic expression made me laugh in anger. Jason, go live happily with Chloe and her dog, and stop making a fool of yourself here. Jason tried to say more but was yanked away. Leon arrived. Wife, let's go home. Gotta get up early for makeup tomorrow. Arm in arm with Leon, I passed Jason. As we walked by Ivy, Leon paused deliberately. The Chow family's business is doing well lately, with spare time to meddle in others' affairs. Finally realizing I wasn't marrying him, Jason, after a night's thought, sent a bombshell. Elena, I hurt you, and you must have agreed to marry someone else impulsively. I know you're testing me. Don't worry, I'll crash the wedding today and save you. I'd blocked him, so he must have used a new number. I hung up and blocked it in one go, not forgetting to text Leon, hubby, someone's planning to crash the wedding today. I later heard from my father that in under 2 hours, Leon mobilized 1,000 security guards, 100 mercenaries, and 200 drones for non-stop patrols, turning the wedding venue into a fortress. The police thought some crime syndicate was making a comeback. Later, word spread in the mercenary world that working for the Jean family was easy money, safe, and came with a lavish meal. Our wedding was broadcast citywide, unprecedentedly grand. The anticipated wedding crash didn't happen. Whether Jason lacked the courage or the chance, Leon was quite pleased with his lavish hiring of bodyguards. The Hua family rose further under the Jean family's halo, and I grew busier, unexpectedly. Even after marrying Leon, Jason hadn't given up, camping out at my company after I changed the password lock. Elena, I know I was wrong to leave you alone at the engagement banquet. I don't blame you for marrying Leon out of anger. You've vented. When are you divorcing Leon? Don't worry, I won't mind that you're second-hand. No need to worry about my mom, just agree to buy her a villa, and I'll handle her. It's like you're getting a huge deal. Jason said, acting as if he was doing me a favor. Are you delusional? Has Chloe drained your kidneys and your brain? Someone as utterly despicable as you, body and soul, can't compare to my husband. He's a listed company CEO, handsome and loyal. Am I brain dead to ditch a feast at home for garbage outside? My merciless words shattered Jason's illusions. I instructed security to call the police if they found him loitering at the company again. Leon sent me photos of dinner, urging me to come home. I hit the gas and left, leaving Jason to choke on exhaust fumes. Knowing I'd blocked him, Jason, undeterred, called from another number. I picked up, about to hang up, when he shouted anxiously. Elena, wait, I mean no harm. You left something with me. Don't you remember the scarf you knitted for me? Since you're married, I thought it best to return it. Jason's words reminded me that the scarf was a birthday gift I gave him in the first year of our relationship. Fearing other gifts lacked sincerity, I decided to make something by hand. Other options were too difficult, so I chose a scarf, staying up nights and pricking my fingers until they swelled, barely finishing it. But Jason glanced at it and tossed it aside, cherishing Chloe's shoddy practice piece instead, so I stopped bothering. After a moment's thought, I agreed, better to take it back, lest Leon, the jealous type, make a fuss. At the agreed location, I not only saw the scarf but was shocked by the cruel way it was presented to me. Elena, look, this beast's illness made me leave the engagement banquet and hurt you. This time, I stuffed it to death, so it'll never eat again. If you're still not satisfied, I recorded a video. I tied its body, fixed a funnel in its mouth, and kept force-feeding it until it couldn't swallow, rolling its eyes, unable to cry out. It won't bother us anymore. The chubby corgi was lifeless, my scarf shockingly used as the tool to kill it. Trembling with rage, I rushed forward, shoved Jason down, and gently cradled the corgi in my arms. Jason, are you insane? What does the dog have to do with this or the monsters? I snatched the small, cold body, tears falling on its half-open eyes. I chose a high, auspicious burial spot for it, wishing it a next life with clearer eyes to pick a better owner. Just as I settled the dog, Chloe came to me. Elena, I know you buried the dog, I beg you to take me to its grave. Softening momentarily, thinking she was its former owner, I took her there. Chloe wept at the dog's grave for a while, making me nauseous. If there's nothing else, I'll go, you know the place now, so you can come back yourself. Wait, she called, removing her large sun hat, revealing a face covered in bruises with no unblemished spot. Elena, I was wrong, I shouldn't have interfered between you and Jason. It was my pettiness, my vanity, wanting Jason to revolve around me to feel superior to you, his real girlfriend. I know I was wrong, take him back, I beg you to marry him. In her emotional outburst, Chloe grabbed my arm, exposing a wrist covered in cigarette burns. She quickly withdrew, trying to hide it. You've got it wrong, I'm not here to be your savior. You begged to visit the dog's grave to repent, so I brought you. Why would I abandon my wonderful husband for a worthless Jason? Do you both think I'm a fool? I turned to leave, but after a few steps, I heard knees hit the ground. Elena, if you don't agree to Jason, he'll beat me to death. You saw what happened to the dog. Jason's gone mad, I can't stop him, if I run, he'll catch me and beat me worse. Elena, I beg you, take pity on me and agree to reconcile with Jason, I'll kowtow to you. She began banging her head on the ground. I paused, left with, if you're in trouble, call the police, and walked away without looking back. I didn't expect Jason had truly lost it, and seeing Chloe's persuasion fail, he grew even more reckless. Knowing I wouldn't see him, he deliberately sent a video from an unknown number. The footage was cruel, featuring Chloe, now bound like the corgi, her body covered in whip marks. Jason, beating her on camera, said, Elena, you were right, it's not about the dog, it's this wretch meddling. Today, I'll beat her to death to vent for you, so she won't cause trouble again. Chloe's piercing screams grew louder, blood staining the ropes binding her. I sent the video to the police, who, using the location, broke in and rescued her. Unsurprisingly, Jason went to prison. I didn't care how long his sentence was, only hearing later that he recanted, claiming he and Chloe were a couple and it was consensual fun, and whether out of fear or foolishness, Chloe agreed. That day, on a whim, I wanted to take Leon to the food street I'd visited. He'd likely never tasted such delights growing up. As soon as we parked, Leon's phone rang, and impatient, I ran ahead. Unable to leave, Leon signaled the bodyguards to follow me. Perhaps due to the cold, the food street wasn't crowded, but the flavors were as good as ever. I bought a pile of food and found a quiet spot to eat while waiting for Leon. That's when Jason appeared, startling me as I stuffed gluten in my mouth. I thought he was a starving vagrant begging for food. Jason, in tattered camouflage clothes, their original color unrecognizable, had unwashed, matted hair, faintly reeking. I recognized him only because he spoke first. Elena, long time no see. My hand, offering him a skewer, froze, and I quickly pulled it back, nearly wasting it. The bodyguards started to approach but stopped at my wave. I kept eating, uninterested in talking, but Jason, unfazed, kept speaking. Looks like you've been doing well, miss me? I missed you. Every second in prison, I got through thinking of you. Touching, right? Jason grew more excited, ruining my appetite for the food. Swallowing my last bite of skewer, I said flatly, is that so? Should I feel honored? Jason, you brought this on yourself. Elena, are you smug? You ungrateful wretch, if I hadn't saved you back then, those thugs would have had their way with you, and you wouldn't be standing here talking big. Jason, eyes bloodshot, roared in rage. I squinted, sizing him up, unsure if I'd misjudged him then or now. Exhaling softly, I said calmly. Need me to testify for you to get a heroic deed award? Jason's tone turned manic, laughing wildly. Elena, don't get too happy once you're ruined. Let's see if Leon still wants you. Then you'll be begging me. He clapped his hands in the air. 3 burly men emerged slowly from a nearby alley, faces rough, cigarettes in mouths, reeking from meters away. The lead bald man nodded at Jason. Didn't you say we'd get 10,000 for taking care of her? Jobless and in rags, where would Jason get money? He nodded obsequiously, pulling a clearly stolen pink wallet from his pocket, handing over several bills. This is the deposit, there's more after it's done. The bald man stuffed the money in his pocket, spat out his cigarette, and approached me with a lecherous grin, reminding Jason, make sure you film us looking tough. Brothers, let's get to work. Didn't expect such a deal. Fun and profit, he said, unbuckling his pants as he walked. Leon, unnoticed, stood not far away, stopping the bodyguards, his face fierce. Knowing me well, he was confident these thugs were no match and let me handle it. Jason hesitated but gritted his teeth and pulled out his phone. I flashed a bloodthirsty smile. Good, looks like prison wasn't enough. He's begging for death, so I won't hold back. Kicking off my heels, I grabbed a stick from the ground and smashed it at the lead thug's head. In under a minute, the 3 men were clutching themselves, wailing in pain, begging for mercy. Judging by the bleeding, their pride was likely beyond saving. The bald man pulled out the money, kowtowing and admitting his blindness. Jason's phone hit the ground, and without picking it up, he bolted, only to run into Leon. Without needing the bodyguards, Leon's punches landed hard, until Jason's pleas were inaudible. Hubby, my feet hurt. Hearing my voice, Leon stopped, loosened his collar, and hurried over, scooping me up and gently wiping the dirt from my feet. Passing the thugs, Jason kicked each one, their screams suggesting no recovery this time. Wife, how do you want to handle this? I'm kind-hearted. Let's help these vagrants with their needs, give Jason a cleanse, then call the police, lest he has issues in prison. Thanks to Jason for recording it all. First time I've seen a criminal provide their own evidence. Leon kissed my forehead, carrying me to the car. We'll do as my wife says. But my wife is truly kind. I'm not planning to spare him in prison. Let him keep benefiting others there. I burst out laughing, lightly punching him. I don't know what became of Jason, but I bet he's quite fulfilled.